Hey there. Tonight, we journey out onto the great, wide sea of grass that once covered the heart of the American continent. We are going to a time before the endless fences, before the railroads, and before the towns. We are going to live for a while inside a Native American clan of the Great Plains. We will leave behind the one-dimensional figures of Hollywood films, the stoic warrior on the painted pony, the romanticized, noble savage. We are here to explore the rich, complex, and deeply human reality of a people whose lives were a masterpiece of adaptation, a culture built around two sacred pillars, the horse and the buffalo. This is a story about what it truly meant to live in a world made of sky and grass. It's about the daily tasks, the seasonal rhythms, the spiritual beliefs, and the profound community that defined life in a teepee village. We'll learn how they endured the brutal winters, how they followed the great herds, and how every single part of their existence was woven into a sacred relationship with the world around them. If this kind of slow, detailed, and contemplative history helps you to quiet your mind and find some rest, I would be grateful if you'd like the video and subscribe to the channel, but only if these stories genuinely bring you a measure of peace. And as always, I love to see our global community gathering for these journeys. Please, feel free to leave a comment and let me know where you're listening from and what time it is in your part of the world. So, dim your lights, turn on a fan for that soft, ambient hum if you find it soothing. Get comfortable, and let's travel back to a time when the world was a great circle, and life moved with the rhythm of the seasons and the thunder of the buffalo. Part 1. The Time of Thawing Spring. The world you wake to is not the same one you fell asleep in. For months, your world has been small, white, and silent. It has been the world of the winter camp, a collection of smoke-stained teepees nestled in a sheltered river valley, a tiny, fragile island of human life in an ocean of snow and brutal, howling wind. The winter was the time of long nights, a season of hardship, of hunger, of huddling close to the fire, of telling stories and praying for survival. But now, something has changed. You are woken not by the cold, but by a new sound. It is the sound of dripping water. The snow on the hide cover of your teepee is melting, the drops falling with a soft, persistent rhythm that is the first music of spring. You push aside the heavy buffalo robe that has been your blanket through the long, frozen nights. The air inside the teepee is still cold, but it has lost its sharp, biting edge. It smells different. The familiar, smoky scent of the fire is now mixed with a new, damp, earthy smell. It is the smell of the world thawing. You are a young person of the Teton Lakota, the people of the prairie. Your home is a teepee, a beautiful, conical lodge made of long wooden poles and covered with expertly stitched buffalo hides. It is a masterpiece of engineering, warm in the winter, cool in the summer, and perfectly designed for a life of movement. In the center of the teepee, the embers of last night's fire glow softly in the hearth. Your family sleeps around you, their forms wrapped in robes, their breathing slow and deep. You crawl to the teepee's entrance, a low, flap-covered doorway. You push the flap aside and look out. The world is transformed. The brilliant, blinding white of the winter snow is gone, replaced by a mottled, messy landscape of brown and gray. The snow is receding, pulling back from the earth like a tired old blanket. The river, which has been a solid, silent highway of ice, is now a churning, grinding chaos of broken ice floes. The sound of the cracking, groaning ice is the sound of the world breaking open. The air feels soft on your face. The sun, which has been a distant, pale coin in the winter sky, now has a new warmth, a new strength. It feels like a promise. A sense of restless energy is beginning to stir in the camp. People are emerging from their teepees, their faces turned to the sun, their breath misting in the cool morning air. There are smiles, quiet nods. The oppressive, confining spell of winter is breaking. The work of spring begins immediately. It is a time of repair, of preparation. The women will begin the long process of cleaning and mending the teepee covers, which have been battered by the winter storms. The men will check their weapons, restringing their bows, fletching new arrows. The horses, which have grown thin and shaggy over the winter, are brought out to graze on the first tender shoots of new grass. But all of this work is done with a sense of anticipation, of a great collective listening. You are all waiting for one thing. You are waiting for the return of the lifeblood of your people. You are waiting for the buffalo. The scouts have already been sent out, riding their strongest horses onto the high plains, searching for a sign. Every day, the village looks to the west, watching for the return of these scouts. Their news will determine your future. Their news will tell you if the world is truly reborn, if the long hunger of winter is finally over. You stand outside your tipi, the cool, damp, and hopeful air of spring on your skin. You have survived another winter. Your family has survived. Your people have survived. And now, you wait. You wait for the thunder, not the thunder of the sky, but the thunder of the earth. The waiting lasts for weeks. The spring deepens. The prairie turns from brown to a vibrant, almost violent green. The migratory birds return, their calls filling the air. The world is alive with a new energy, a new hope. But one crucial piece is still missing. And then, one afternoon, a cry goes up from the edge of the camp. A lookout, perched on a high bluff, is shouting and pointing to the west. The entire village empties out. Everyone runs to see. On the distant horizon, there are two small, dark specks moving quickly. They are the scouts. They are returning. A profound, collective silence falls over the camp. Every man, woman, and child stands motionless, their eyes fixed on the approaching riders. The fate of your people for the coming year rides with those two men. As they get closer, you can see how they are riding. They are not riding slowly, their heads down in defeat. They are riding hard, their horses lathered in sweat. One of them is riding in a wide, circling pattern. It is a signal, a sign that every person in the village understands. A great joyous shout erupts from the crowd. The circle is the sign of the buffalo. The scouts have found the great herd. The thunder has returned. The scouts ride into the camp, their faces grim with exhaustion but lit with triumph. They are immediately surrounded, brought to the council lodge where the elders and the leaders are waiting. They tell their story. They have ridden for days. They have found the great southern herd, moving north, following the greening grass. It is a herd so vast that it stretches from horizon to horizon, a great, dark, moving river of life. The news electrifies the camp. The time for waiting is over. The time for the hunt is at hand. The preparations begin immediately, a flurry of organized, purposeful activity. This will be the first great communal hunt of the year, and it is an undertaking of immense spiritual and practical importance. The men prepare their weapons. The bow is the primary tool of the buffalo hunt on horseback. It is a short, powerful bow, often made of ash or Osage orange, backed with sinew to give it extra power. The arrows are fletched with eagle feathers for true flight, and tipped with sharp, triangular points of iron if you have been able to trade for them, or of painstakingly chipped flint or bone. The hunters prepare their horses. Not just any horse can be a buffalo horse. It must be fast, agile, intelligent, and above all, courageous. It must have the heart to ride directly into a thundering, chaotic herd of massive, dangerous animals. The bond between a hunter and his buffalo horse is one of the deepest and most sacred relationships in your world. The horse is not a tool, it is a partner. The night before the hunt is a time of great ceremony. The hunters gather in a special lodge. They purify themselves in a sweat lodge, a small dome-shaped structure where water is poured over hot rocks to create an intense, cleansing steam. They smoke the sacred pipe, offering prayers to Wakan Tonka, the great mystery, and to the spirit of the buffalo. They do not pray for success in the hunt. They pray for courage, for skill, for the safety of themselves and their horses. They pray that the buffalo will honor them by offering their bodies so that the people may live. The hunt is seen not as an act of domination, but as a sacred transaction, a renewal of the ancient compact between your people and the buffalo nation. You, as a young person who may be participating in your first great hunt, are filled with a mixture of terror and exhilaration. You have been training for this moment your entire life. You have practiced with your bow until your fingers are raw. You have raced your horse across the prairie. You have listened to the stories of the great hunters of your clan. Now, it is your turn. Tomorrow, you will ride out to meet the great thundering heart of your world. Tomorrow, you will see if you have the courage to become a man. You lie in your tipi, the sounds of the preparing camp around you, your heart pounding with a rhythm that matches the distant, imagined thunder of the herd. Before you can hunt the buffalo, you must first understand the creature that makes it possible, the horse. The arrival of the horse on the Great Plains, a few centuries before your time, was not just an addition to your world. It was a revolution. It transformed your people from pedestrian hunters and gatherers into the lords of the plains. The horse is not just an animal, it is the engine of your entire culture. Your relationship with your horse is intimate, complex, and deeply spiritual. You do not simply own a horse. You have a partner, a companion, a four-legged brother. Your wealth, your status, your very survival are all tied to the quality and the number of horses you possess. The horses of the plains are not the large, heavy draft animals of the white man. They are small, tough, and incredibly hardy creatures, descendants of the Spanish Mustangs. They have unmatched stamina and an innate intelligence. They can survive on the sparse prairie grass and can endure the brutal extremes of the weather. You have your own personal string of horses, each one trained for a specific purpose. You have your everyday riding horse, a steady and reliable mount. You have your fast and agile cutting horse, which you use for the roundup. And you have your most prized possession, your buffalo horse. The buffalo horse is a very special animal. It is chosen for its speed, its courage, and its cow sense. It is trained to run at a full gallop alongside a thundering 1,000-pound buffalo without shying away. It learns to respond to the slightest shift in your weight, to your quietest command, allowing you to have both hands free to use your bow. The bond between you and your buffalo horse is one of absolute trust. You are trusting it with your life, and it is trusting you with its. The care of your horses is one of your most important daily tasks. You lead them to water. You move them to fresh pasture. You check them for injuries. You talk to them. You sing to them. You treat them not as property, but as members of your family. The art of raiding horses from your enemies, the crow, the Pawnee, is a path to glory for a young warrior. It is a dangerous and highly skilled undertaking, a test of stealth, courage, and horsemanship. To return to the village with a herd of enemy horses is to bring great wealth and honor to your family and your clan. A man with many horses is a rich man. He can afford to give them away as gifts, to trade them for wives, to demonstrate his generosity and his power. The horse has transformed every aspect of your life. It has made you a more efficient hunter, allowing you to follow the great buffalo herds and to kill more animals than you ever could on foot. It has made you a more formidable warrior, giving you speed and mobility in battle. And it has made you a nomadic people. Your entire village, your entire world, is now portable. The horse allows you to move your camp quickly and easily, to follow the buffalo, to seek out fresh grass and water, to escape your enemies. The teepee itself is a piece of architecture perfectly adapted to a life on horseback. Its long poles, which were once dragged by dogs, are now carried by horses. The travois, a simple A-frame sled, is pulled by a horse and can carry all of your family's belongings, your robes, your tools, your sacred objects. You can break down your entire village and be on the move in a matter of hours. The horse is a sacred animal. It is seen as a gift from Wakan Tanka. It has its own songs, its own ceremonies. The painted symbols on your horse are not just decoration. They are prayers. They are medicine. They are a way of imbuing your horse with spiritual power and protection. As you prepare for the great hunt, you go to your buffalo horse. You braid its mane and tail with sacred herbs. You paint symbols of lightning on its flanks, for speed. You paint a circle around its eye, for good vision. You lean your head against its warm neck, and you speak to it. You tell it of the great work you will do together. You ask it for its courage, for its strength. You are a man of the plains, but you are nothing without your horse. It is your feet, your wings, your spirit. It is the creature that has allowed you to become a true lord of this vast, empty, and beautiful land. The day of the hunt has arrived. You and the other chosen hunters ride out from the camp in the gray light of dawn. You are not a chaotic mob. You are a disciplined, silent, and focused cavalry. The leaders of the warrior societies ride at the front, enforcing a strict order. No one is allowed to break ranks to charge ahead. The success of the hunt depends on a coordinated, communal effort. You ride for miles, following the directions of the scouts. The sense of anticipation is a palpable thing, a tight knot in your stomach. And then you see it. On a distant ridge, you crest a small rise, and the world opens up before you. The prairie below is not empty. It is a vast, dark, moving sea of buffalo. There are thousands of them, so many that they seem to be a part of the landscape itself. The sound they make is a low, continuous rumble, a sound that you feel in the ground, in your bones. The smell is a rich, earthy, and wild smell of grass, dust, and animal life. You and the other hunters pause. You are waiting for the signal from the hunt leader. He is assessing the herd, the wind, the terrain. He is choosing the point of attack. The plan is simple and brutally effective. The hunters will divide into two groups. You will approach the herd from downwind, using the hills and ravines to conceal your approach. You will then charge the herd simultaneously from two sides, creating a pincer movement, driving a portion of the herd into a state of confusion and panic. The signal is given, a single raised lance. You urge your horse forward, your heart pounding. You move at a trot, then a canter, then a full, earth-devouring gallop. You are riding alongside dozens of other warriors, a wave of human and equine energy about to crash into a sea of animal power. The moment your charge hits the edge of the herd is a moment of absolute, terrifying chaos. The buffalo explode into a panic. The low rumble becomes a deafening, thundering roar. The ground trembles as if from an earthquake. You are now inside the stampede. You are surrounded by a churning, terrifying mass of huge, powerful animals. The dust is so thick you can barely see. The noise is overwhelming. This is where the trust in your horse is absolute. You drop the reins. You guide your horse with the pressure of your knees, with shifts in your weight. Your hands are free for your bow. You choose your target, a large, fat cow, which will provide the best meat and the softest hide. You urge your horse alongside it, so close that your leg is almost touching its hairy flank. The world narrows to this single, intense focus. There is only you, your horse, and the buffalo. You draw an arrow from the quiver on your back. You knock it to the bowstring. You draw the heavy bow. Your muscles strain. You are aiming for a small, specific spot behind the buffalo's front shoulder, the place where the arrow can penetrate the lungs or the heart. You release. The arrow flies true. It disappears into the buffalo's side. The great beast stumbles, but it does not fall. It continues to run. You must shoot again. You grab another arrow. You knock. You draw. You release. This one hits home. The buffalo stumbles again, its great head lowering. It begins to fall behind the main herd. You have made your kill, but you do not stop. The hunt is a communal effort. The goal is to kill as many buffalo as possible, to provide for the entire village. You ride on, searching for your next target. The hunt lasts for less than an hour, but it is an hour of the most intense, dangerous, and exhilarating activity you will ever experience. When it is over, you are drenched in sweat. Your horse is trembling with exhaustion, and the prairie is littered with the dark, still forms of the fallen buffalo. You and the other hunters dismount. A quiet, reverent mood settles over the killing ground. You go to the animals you have killed. You offer a prayer of thanks. You place a piece of sacred sage in their mouths. You have taken their lives, but you have done so with respect, with gratitude, and with a deep understanding of the sacred responsibility you now have to use their gift wisely. The hunt is over, but the work has just begun. The women of the village are already on their way, with their knives, their travois, and their immense skill. The task of turning these great, fallen beasts into the stuff of life is about to begin. Part 2. The Moon of Green Grass Summer. The great spring hunt is over. The meat has been processed, the hides prepared, but the land where you are camped has been grazed down, the resources depleted. And the great buffalo herds are continuing their slow, inexorable migration north. You must follow them. Your life is a nomadic one, a constant journey, a perpetual state of moving. The decision to move is made by the Council of Elders, guided by the reports of the scouts. When the word is given, the entire village transforms from a settled community into a highly efficient, mobile operation. The process of breaking camp is a whirlwind of organized, purposeful activity, and it is a task performed almost entirely by the women. Your mother, your sisters, your wife, they are the engineers of this migration. They are the masters of the art of creating and dismantling a home. Their work begins at dawn. The first task is to disassemble the tipi. It is a process that is the reverse of its construction, and it is done with a speed and efficiency that is breathtaking to watch. The wooden pins that hold the hide cover together are removed. The great heavy cover, which can be made of 15 to 20 buffalo hides stitched together, is folded with a practiced, geometric precision into a compact bundle. Then, the framework of long, slender lodgepole pines is taken down. These poles are the most valuable part of the tipi, as good, straight poles are difficult to find on the largely treeless plains. They are a precious, inherited resource. All of the family's possessions must be packed. The buffalo robes and blankets are rolled up. The cooking pots, the tools, the sacred objects, the children's toys, everything is packed into rawhide containers called parfleches. These are like beautiful, durable, and waterproof suitcases, often painted with vibrant geometric designs that signify the family's identity. The transportation for all of this is the travois. It is a simple but ingenious device, made of 2 long tipi poles, their ends lashed together and harnessed to a horse, or in earlier times, a dog. A small, net-like platform is stretched between the poles, and it is on this platform that all of the family's belongings are loaded. The tipi cover itself is often wrapped around the bundle to protect it. The women are masters of packing. They know exactly how to distribute the weight, how to secure the load, so that nothing is lost on the rough journey. A well-packed travois is a work of art, a small, mobile mountain of domestic life. Within a few hours, the entire village, which was a bustling community of 100 or more tipis just this morning, has vanished. The only signs that you were ever here are the dark, circular patches of earth where the tipis stood and the cold ashes of the campfires. The great procession begins. It is not a silent, orderly march. It is a noisy, vibrant, and sprawling parade of life. The warriors ride at the front and on the flanks, acting as scouts and protectors. The elders, the women, and the children ride on horseback or walk alongside the travois. The great herd of spare horses, the remuda, is herded along by the young boys. The camp dogs run everywhere, barking with excitement. You are a city on the move. You are a river of people and animals flowing across the vast, open prairie. You will travel for days, for weeks, following the trail of the buffalo. Each night, you will make a new camp. The women will perform their magic in reverse. They will unpack the travois. They will raise the tipi poles. They will stretch the hide covers. Within an hour, a new village has sprung from the empty earth. The fires are lit. The smell of cooking meat fills the air. The sounds of life, of community, return. This is your life. A life of constant movement, of perpetual impermanence. You do not have a single fixed home. Your home is the teepee, a portable sanctuary. Your home is the camp circle, a community that can be created and recreated anywhere. Your home is the great open prairie itself. You are not wandering aimlessly. You are following a sacred, ancient rhythm. You are following the buffalo, You are following the seasons. You are following the path that your people have walked for generations. You are a nomad, a traveler, a true child of the great, wide and ever-changing plains. After weeks of travel, you reach your summer destination. It is a place of great beauty and abundance, a wide, fertile river valley, a place with plenty of fresh water, good grass for the horses, and easy access to the great buffalo herds. And you are not alone. As you approach, you see other bands of your people, your relatives, your allies, who have also made the long journey. They have come together for the great summer gathering. The small, mobile village of your own band now becomes part of a much larger city. The teepees are erected in a great sacred circle, the Kanglishka Wakan. This is not a random arrangement. The camp circle is a map of your universe, a living symbol of your social and spiritual world. The entrance to the circle always faces east, towards the rising sun, the source of life and light. Each band, each clan, each family has its specific appointed place in the circle. Your position in the circle tells you who you are, who your relatives are, what your obligations are. It is a physical manifestation of your social identity. The summer camp is a place of incredible energy and vitality. After the isolation and hardship of the winter, and the focused labor of the spring, this is a time of social renewal, of celebration, of community on a grand scale. The camp can be huge, a temporary city of thousands of people, of thousands of horses. The prairie is alive with activity. The sound of children's laughter echoes through the air. Groups of young men race their horses, showing off their skill and their courage. Women gather in large groups to work on beading projects, to tan hides, to share stories and gossip. It is a time for trade, for renewing old alliances, for arranging marriages. It is a time for great councils, where the leaders of the different bands meet to discuss the important issues facing the tribe: war, peace, the movement of the herds. And it is a time for ceremony. The summer is the season of the most important and sacred rituals of your people. The most powerful of these is the sun dance. The sun dance is a multi-day ceremony of profound spiritual intensity. It is a prayer for the renewal of the world, for the well-being of the people, for the continued abundance of the buffalo. A special lodge is constructed in the center of the camp circle. A sacred cottonwood tree, representing the connection between the earth and the sky, is erected in the center of the lodge. The men who have made a vow to dance will participate in a ritual of great personal sacrifice. They will fast for days. They will dance from sunup to sundown, their eyes fixed on the sun, their bodies painted with sacred symbols. Some of them will offer their own flesh, piercing their chests with wooden skewers that are tied by ropes to the central pole. They will dance, leaning back against the ropes until the flesh tears free. This is not an act of self-torture. It is an act of prayer, of devotion, of offering. They are offering their own pain, their own suffering, as a gift to Wakan Tanka, in the hope that their sacrifice will ensure the continued life and prosperity of their people. It is the ultimate expression of the belief that the individual must suffer for the good of the community. You, as a young person, will watch these ceremonies with a mixture of awe, reverence, and fear. You will see the power of your people's faith made manifest. You will feel the deep, resonant pulse of the drums, the haunting sound of the eagle bone whistles, the collective energy of 1,000 people praying with one voice. The summer camp is the heart of your year. It is the time when you are most fully yourselves. You are not just a small, struggling band of nomads. You are a great and powerful nation, a people united by a shared language, a shared culture, a shared sacred purpose. You are the people of the plains, and in the great summer camp circle, under the vast open sky, you feel a sense of strength, of identity, of belonging that will sustain you through the long, hard months to come. The great summer hunt has been a success. The men, the warriors and hunters return to the camp, their horses lathered, their faces grim with exhaustion but lit with the pride of accomplishment. They have done their part. They have brought the meat, the raw material of life, back to the village. But their work is now over, and the work of the women, a labor that is just as demanding, just as skilled, and far more protracted, is about to begin. The transformation of the dead beast into the stuff of life is entirely in their hands. The women of the village ride out to the killing ground, their travois and their sharp, well-honed knives in hand. The scene is one of carnage and of great solemn labor. The prairie is dotted with the dark, still forms of the fallen buffalo. The work begins immediately. A team of women can process a massive buffalo bull with a speed and efficiency that is a testament to a lifetime of practice. The first task is the skinning. The buffalo is rolled onto its back. With their crescent-shaped fleshing knives, the women make a series of precise, practiced cuts. The hide is peeled back from the flesh, a process that requires great strength and skill. A single, careless slip of the knife can puncture the hide, rendering it less valuable. The hide is the most precious part of the buffalo. After the meat, it will become the cover for a tipi, a warm robe for the winter, the soles of moccasins, the material for a warrior's shield. Once the hide is removed, the butchering begins. This is not a random hacking apart of the carcass. It is a precise and anatomical process. The women know every muscle, every organ, every bone. Nothing is wasted. The great muscles of the back and the hindquarters are cut into large chunks of meat, to be eaten fresh or to be cut into thin strips and dried. The tongue, a great delicacy, is immediately removed and often cooked over a special fire right there on the prairie, a first taste of the bounty for the hard-working women. The organs are all saved. The liver, rich in vitamins, might be eaten raw, still warm. The heart, the kidneys, the stomach all have their uses. The intestines are cleaned and will be used as casings for a kind of sausage. Even the bones are valuable. The large leg bones will be cracked open for their rich, nutritious marrow. The smaller bones will be boiled to render their fat, or they will be carved into tool saws, needles, scrapers. The shoulder blades can be used as hoes for gardening. The sinew, the long, tough tendons that run along the backbone, are carefully removed. When dried, they can be separated into fine, strong threads, perfect for sewing clothes and for making bowstrings. The horns will be carved into spoons, cups, and powder horns. The hooves will be boiled down to make glue. The tail will become a fly swatter. The brain will be saved and used in the tanning process. Every single part of the buffalo is used. To waste any part of the animal that has given its life for you is a profound sign of disrespect, a violation of the sacred compact. The women work for hours under the hot sun, their hands and arms covered in blood. They load the heavy meat and the massive hides onto their travois. The journey back to the camp is a slow, heavily burdened procession, and their work is still not done. Over the next few weeks, they will be engaged in the immense task of preserving the meat and tanning the hides. The camp will be a great open-air factory. Racks will be built, covered with thin strips of meat drying in the sun to make jerky. Hides will be stretched on frames, scraped clean of all flesh and hair. The smell of meat, smoke, and the chemical process of tanning will hang heavy in the air. This is the work of women. It is a work of immense skill, of great physical strength, of a deep, encyclopedic knowledge of anatomy and chemistry. It is the work that turns the violent masculine energy of the hunt into the sustained, nurturing energy of the community. The men may bring the kill, but it is the women who bring the life. And without their labor, their skill, and their tireless endurance, the glory of the hunt would be nothing but a pile of rotting meat on the empty prairie. The meat is drying on racks in the sun, but the most intensive and artful work still remains. The transformation of the raw, bloody buffalo hides into the soft, supple, and incredibly durable material that is essential for your survival. This is not just work. It is an art, a science, and a form of alchemy, performed entirely by the women of the clan. The process begins with a raw hide, heavy and stiff with blood and fat. It must be stretched taut on a wooden frame or staked out on the ground, flesh side up. The first step is fleshing. Using a specialized tool, often made from the leg bone of a buffalo sharpened to a chisel-like edge, the women scrape away every last bit of fat, meat, and membrane from the inside of the hide. It is grueling, messy, and physically demanding work. They will work for hours under the sun, their muscles straining, their hands covered in grease. Once the hide is clean, it is left to dry. It becomes stiff and hard, like a giant, hairy piece of cardboard. The next step is to remove the hair, unless the hide is destined to become a heavy winter robe. To do this, the hide is soaked in water, often mixed with wood ash, to loosen the hair follicles. Then it is stretched on the frame again, and the women use another scraping tool to push the hair off in great, wet clumps. Now the hide is a pale, stiff, and lifeless piece of rawhide. It is useful for making things like shields or the soles of moccasins, but to make it into soft clothing or a teepee cover, it must be tanned. Your people do not have the chemical tanning methods of the outside world. They use a method that is ancient, organic, and incredibly effective: brain tanning. The brain of the buffalo, which was carefully saved during the butchering process, is mashed into a paste, often mixed with liver and soapweed yucca. This paste is rich in emulsifying agents and oils. The women will laboriously rub this mixture deep into the fibers of the hide. This is the magic of the process. The brain liquor breaks down the gluey fibers within the skin, beginning the process of softening it. After the brain paste has been worked in and has had time to penetrate, the most physically demanding part of the work begins: the softening. The hide must be stretched, pulled, twisted, and rubbed over and over again, for hours, sometimes for days. A wet hide might be pulled back and forth over a tautly strung rawhide rope. A dry hide will be worked over a smooth, upright stake or a bladed stone set in the ground. The women work in teams, pulling and stretching the heavy hide with all their might. They will chew on stubborn sections to soften them with their saliva. It is a full-body workout, a relentless, exhausting process. They are physically breaking down the internal structure of the hide, transforming it from a stiff, dead thing into something soft, pliable, and alive. The final step is smoking. A brain-tanned hide, if it gets wet, will dry stiff again. To make it permanently soft and water-resistant, it must be smoked. A small, smoldering fire of punk wood is built. The hide is sewn into a cone or a bag and suspended over the fire, trapping the smoke inside. The smoke penetrates the fibers of the hide, coating them and preventing them from ever sticking together again. The smoking also gives the hide its beautiful, characteristic golden brown color and its pleasant, smoky smell. The result of these weeks of hard, skilled labor is a piece of buckskin that is softer than cloth, lighter than canvas, and more durable than almost any other material. It is a thing of both immense utility and profound beauty. From this material, the women will create everything your people need. The cover for your tipi, so perfectly stitched that it is waterproof and windproof. Your shirts, your leggings, your dresses, so soft they feel like a second skin. Your moccasins, so durable they can withstand miles of walking on the hard prairie. As you watch the women work, their bodies moving with a practiced, efficient grace, you are witnessing a miracle of transformation. They are taking the raw, bloody, and unformed stuff of the wilderness, and, through their skill, their strength, and their deep traditional knowledge, they are creating the very fabric of your civilization. The art of the hide is the art of life itself. The summer is at its peak. The days are long and hot. The great buffalo herds are grazing contentedly on the rich prairie grass. The camp is full of life, of energy, of the security that comes from a successful spring hunt. This is the time, when the world is at its most powerful, that your people perform their most powerful and sacred ceremony, the sun dance. This is not a festival or a simple celebration. It is a profound and deeply serious religious ritual. It is a time of prayer, of sacrifice, of the renewal of the sacred bonds that tie your people to the cosmos, to the buffalo, and to Wakan Tanka, the great mystery. The entire village participates in the preparation. A special, large lodge is constructed in the very center of the camp circle. A tall, straight cottonwood tree is chosen, cut down, and erected in the center of the lodge. This is the Chanwakan, the sacred pole. It is the axis of the world, the bridge that connects the earth to the sky. The lodge is built around it. The ceremony is sponsored by a man who has made a vow, perhaps during a time of great danger or sickness, to offer this prayer on behalf of his people. But the central figures of the sun dance are the dancers themselves. These are men who have also made a sacred vow to sacrifice themselves for the good of the tribe. For several days they will fast. They will not eat or drink. They will purify themselves in the sweat lodge. They will pray. They are preparing their bodies and their spirits for the great ordeal to come. You, as a young person, watch all of this with a sense of profound awe. The atmosphere in the camp is one of quiet, sacred intensity. The usual games and laughter are hushed. Everyone is focused on the great work that is about to be done. On the appointed day, the ceremony begins. The dancers, their bodies painted with sacred symbols, enter the sun dance lodge. The drummers begin a steady, powerful, hypnotic rhythm. It is the heartbeat of the earth. The singers begin the ancient, holy songs. The dancers will dance for days. They will dance from sunrise to sunset, their gaze fixed on the top of the sacred pole or on the sun itself. They will blow on whistles made from the wing bone of an eagle, a sound that is high, piercing, and otherworldly. It is a prayer for life. Their dance is not a performance. It is an act of endurance, of devotion. It is a way of focusing all of their energy, all of their will, into a single, powerful prayer for the people. And then comes the part of the ceremony that is most misunderstood by outsiders, the part that is most sacred to your people, the piercing. The men who have made the vow to do so will present themselves to the holy man. He will take a sharp bone awl and pierce the skin and muscle of their chests. He will insert a wooden skewer through the piercings. A long, rawhide rope is tied to the skewer, and the other end is tied to the sacred pole. And then they will dance. They will lean back against the rope, their entire body weight pulling against the piercings in their chest. They will dance, and they will pray, until the flesh tears, until they break free. To you, this is not an act of self-mutilation. It is the ultimate act of sacrifice. The dancer is offering the only thing he truly owns, his own body, his own pain. He is giving a piece of himself to Wakantanka in the hope that his sacrifice will ensure the health of a sick relative, the success of the next hunt, the return of the buffalo, the continued existence of the people. It is the most powerful prayer a man can make. You watch, and you understand. You understand that your culture is not built on individual achievement, but on communal sacrifice. You understand that the strength of the people comes from the willingness of individuals to suffer for the good of the whole. The sun dance is a terrifying, beautiful, and profoundly moving ceremony. It is the spiritual core of your year. It is the moment when your people come together to renew their relationship with the sacred powers of the universe. It is a powerful and unforgettable lesson in the meaning of faith, of community, and of sacrifice. And it will shape your understanding of the world for the rest of your life. Part 3. The Moon of Falling Leaves. Autumn. The air has changed. The suffocating heat of summer has given way to a crisp, clear, and invigorating coolness. The leaves on the cottonwood leaves valleys have begun to turn a brilliant, blazing yellow. The nights are getting longer, and the first hard frosts have silvered the prairie grass in the morning. Autumn has arrived, and with it comes a sense of urgency. The great summer gathering is over. The different bands of your people have broken up and gone their separate ways. Your clan is now on the move again, heading south, back to the sheltered lands where you will spend the winter. But there is one last great task to be performed before the coming of the cold, the last great buffalo hunt of the year. The mood of this hunt is different from the one in the spring. The spring hunt was a celebration of the return of life. The autumn hunt is a serious, focused, and slightly desperate business. The meat and the hides from this hunt are what will see you through the long, hard winter. A successful hunt means security. A failed hunt means hunger, and possibly starvation. The buffalo themselves are in their prime. They have spent the summer fattening themselves on the rich prairie grass. Their coats are thick and heavy, perfect for making the warm robes that will be your primary protection against the winter cold. The hunters are at the peak of their skill. They have spent the summer practicing, their bodies hardened, their horses well trained. The hunt itself is conducted with the same skill, the same courage, and the same spiritual reverence as the spring hunt. But there is a greater intensity, a greater focus. Every kill counts. You ride into the thundering herd, the familiar mixture of fear and exhilaration coursing through you. You are more experienced now. Your movements are more sure. Your aim is more true. You and your buffalo horse move as one, a single, efficient, and deadly hunting machine. You make your kills. You honor the spirits of the fallen animals. And the women, as always, perform their incredible transformative labor, turning the raw carcasses into the stuff of life. The camp in the evenings is not one of boisterous celebration. It is one of quiet, focused work. The women are cutting the meat into thin strips for drying. The men are cleaning their weapons, repairing their gear. Everyone is working with a quiet, efficient urgency. The shadow of the coming winter is a powerful motivator. You are in a race against time. You must gather enough food and hides before the first great snows of winter arrive, before the buffalo herds move on to their southern wintering grounds beyond your reach. The autumn hunt is a time of great responsibility. You are not just hunting for yourself, for your own glory. You are hunting for your family, for your clan. You are hunting for the elders who are too old to hunt for themselves. You are hunting for the children who are the future of your people. Your skill with the bow, your courage on the back of your horse, is a direct contribution to the survival of your community. As you look at the racks of drying meat, at the piles of thick, heavy hides, you feel a deep sense of satisfaction. You have done your duty. You have fulfilled your role. You have provided for your people. The last great hunt is over. You are as prepared as you can be. Now, you must turn your faces to the north, and you must listen for the first mournful howl of the winter wind. The meat from the autumn hunt is drying on racks all over the camp, turning into a hard, dark jerky in the crisp autumn sun and the smoke of the fires. But some of this meat is destined for a higher purpose. It is destined to become pemmican. Pemmican is not just food. It is the ultimate survival ration of the plains. It is a superfood, a perfect, portable, and almost indestructible source of concentrated energy. A small handful of pemmican can sustain a hunter or a warrior for an entire day. It is the food that will keep your people from starving during the hardest months of the winter or on a long journey. And the making of it is a laborious and ingenious process. The work is done by the women. They begin with the dried meat, the jerky. They place it on a large, flat stone, and, using a heavy stone maul, they pound it. They pound it for hours, until the hard, dry jerky is pulverized into a fine, fluffy, almost cotton-like powder. This is pounded meat. Next, they take the fat from the buffalo, especially the rich hardback fat. They chop it into small pieces and render it over a slow fire in a large pot. They cook it until all the water has evaporated and all the impurities have been skimmed off, leaving a pure, clean, liquid tallow. Then they gather the final ingredient, dried berries. Choke cherries or Saskatoon berries are the favorites. The berries were gathered in the late summer and pounded pits and all into a paste which was then dried in the sun into hard, flat cakes. These berry cakes are now broken up and added to the pounded meat. The three ingredients are now ready to be combined. The pounded meat and the crushed berries are placed in a large rawhide bag or bowl. The hot, liquid tallow is then poured over the mixture. The women stir it all together with a wooden paddle, ensuring that every fiber of the meat is completely saturated with the fat. The final mixture is then packed tightly into rawhide bags, or parfleches. As the tallow cools, it solidifies, sealing the meat and the berries in an airtight waterproof matrix. The result is pemmican. It is not beautiful. It is a dense, heavy, greasy substance. But it is a miracle of food preservation. Properly made and stored, pemmican can last for years, even decades, without spoiling. Its nutritional value is almost perfect. The pounded meat provides protein. The rendered fat provides a massive amount of calories for energy and warmth. And the berries provide essential vitamins and a touch of sweetness. It is a complete and balanced meal, a perfect fuel for the hard life of the plains. You do not eat pemmican every day. It is a special food, a survival food. You eat it when you are on a long journey, when fresh meat is not available, or during the darkest, hungriest days of winter, when the other stores are running low. You can eat it as it is, by scooping a piece out of the bag and chewing on it. It is dense and has a rich, savory, and slightly sweet flavor. Or it can be boiled in water to create a thick, hearty, and incredibly nourishing soup. The making of pemmican is one of the most important tasks of the autumn. It is a slow, laborious, and communal process. As you watch the women working, as you smell the rich, fatty scent of the rendering tallow, you are watching the creation of your people's insurance policy against starvation. Every bag of pemmican that is sealed and stored away is another bulwark against the coming cold, another promise of survival. It is the food of the ancestors, the food of the future. It is the concentrated essence of the buffalo, the land, and the ingenuity of your people, all packed into a single, life-sustaining substance. The days grow shorter. The great communal labors of the hunt and the harvest are done. The clan begins to turn inward, preparing for the long, confining season of winter. The energy of the camp, which was once expansive and explosive, now becomes quiet, focused, and introspective. This is the time for the quiet arts, the intricate, beautiful, and deeply symbolic crafts that will be worked on during the long, dark nights to come. While the men might spend their time making or repairing their tools and weapons, the women are the primary artists of the people. They are the ones who create the beauty that adorns your life, a beauty that is all the more precious in a world that is so often harsh and unforgiving. One of the most ancient and beautiful of these arts is quill work. Long before you had glass beads from the white traders, your people created intricate, vibrant designs using the quills of the porcupine. The quills are gathered, sorted by size, and then dyed using natural pigments made from plants, minerals, and berries. They are dyed brilliant reds, yellows, blacks, and blues. The women will then soften the quills in their mouths and flatten them by pulling them through their teeth. Using a bone awl to make small holes in a piece of soft buckskin, they will then meticulously sew the flattened quills onto the material, creating complex geometric patterns. They will decorate everything with this beautiful work: moccasins, shirts, pipe bags, buffalo robes. The designs are not random. They are a symbolic language, representing stars, mountains, animals, and spiritual concepts. To wear a piece of quill work is to wear a prayer. With the coming of the traders, glass beads have become more common. These tiny, colorful seed beads have, in many ways, replaced quill work. The women have adapted their traditional designs to this new medium. They create vast, shimmering fields of color on dresses, on cradle boards, on horse masks. The beadwork of the Plains people is a stunning art form, a testament to their incredible skill, their patience, and their profound sense of design. A woman's skill in beadwork is a source of great pride and status. The men have their own quiet arts. One of the most sacred is the carving of the pipe. The pipe, the chanumpa, is the most sacred object in your culture. It is not for idle smoking. It is a portable altar, a tool for prayer, a way of communicating directly with Wakantanka. The bowl of the pipe is carved from a special, soft, red stone called catlinite, which is quarried from a sacred site far to the east. The carving of the pipe is a slow, meditative, and prayerful process. The stem is made of ash or some other wood, and it is often decorated with quillwork, beads, or feathers. When the pipe is smoked in a ceremony, The smoke is believed to carry the prayers of the people up to the Creator. The pipe is a symbol of peace, of truth, of the sacred connection between all living things. The man who carves the pipe is not just a craftsman. He is a priest, a man of great spiritual power. And then there is the art of storytelling. The winter is the season of the story. The history, the laws, the values of your people are not written down in books. They are carried in the memories of the elders, and they are passed down orally from one generation to the next. In the long evenings, your family will gather in the warm, fire-lit teepee, and a grandparent, an uncle, an elder will tell the old stories. They will tell of the creation of the world, of the trickster Iktomi and his foolish adventures, of the great heroes of your people. They will tell the winter counts, the painted buffalo robes that are your history books, each symbol representing a significant event from a particular year. You will listen, captivated. These stories are your entertainment, your education, your moral compass. They teach you how to be a good person, a good member of the clan. They connect you to the long, unbroken chain of your ancestors. This is how your culture is kept alive, not in stone monuments or written texts, but in the quiet, creative work of your hands and in the powerful, resonant magic of your words. It is a culture of portable beauty, of oral tradition, of a deep and abiding artistry that can flourish even in the harshest of environments. Part 4. The time of the White Death, winter. The geese have flown south. The last of the autumn leaves have fallen from the cottonwood trees. The air has a new, sharp, and ominous edge to it. A deep, instinctual knowledge, passed down through generations, tells you that the time for wandering is over. The great, benevolent prairie, which has provided you with such abundance during the summer and autumn, is about to become a frozen, desolate, and life-threatening wasteland. It is time to seek shelter. It is time to make the winter camp. The choice of a winter campsite is the most important strategic decision your clan will make all year. The trail boss and the council of elders will spend weeks scouting for the perfect location. They are looking for a very specific set of features. First, and most importantly, it must be sheltered from the wind. The winter wind on the open plains is a relentless, soul-destroying force, a river of sub-zero air that can freeze a man or an animal in a matter of hours. The ideal campsite is nestled in a deep, wooded river valley, protected by high bluffs or a thick stand of cottonwood trees. Second, it must have access to water. The river must be one that does not freeze solid, or there must be a spring nearby. Third, it must have a good supply of firewood. The cottonwood trees along the river are your primary source of fuel for the long winter nights. A camp without enough wood is a camp that will not survive. And finally, it must have some winter grazing for your precious herd of horses. They must have enough forage to survive until the spring grasses return. When the perfect spot is found, your band, which may have traveled with a larger group during the summer, now moves to its own isolated winter home. The mood of the camp changes dramatically. The great open and socially vibrant camp circle of the summer is gone. The tipis are now pitched much closer together, often in a more sheltered, less formal arrangement among the trees. The teepee itself is prepared for winter. An inner lining of hides is stretched around the inside of the lodge, creating a layer of insulating airspace. The floor is covered with a thick layer of soft furs. The outside of the teepee is banked with snow, creating another layer of insulation against the brutal cold. A well-prepared teepee, with a small, efficient fire in its center, can be a surprisingly warm and comfortable home, a cozy, smoky sanctuary against the fury of the winter world outside. The camp settles into a new rhythm, a rhythm of conservation and endurance. The energy of the people, which was once expansive and outward-looking, now turns inward. The community draws together, a small, fragile bubble of warmth and life in a great, frozen world. The days are short. The work is focused on survival. The men will spend their days gathering firewood, hunting for the small game that has not yet hibernated, and repairing their gear. The women will be engaged in the endless tasks of cooking, sewing, and caring for the children. The atmosphere is one of quiet patience. You are not fighting the winter. You are enduring it. You are living in harmony with its limitations. You have done your work. You have gathered your food. You have prepared your home. Now, all you can do is wait. You will spend the next 4 to 5 months in this small, sheltered valley. Your world will shrink to the size of the camp. The vast, open prairie is now a place of death. Your life is now centered around the fire, around the teepee, around the stories and the songs that will keep your spirits alive through the long, dark, and frozen nights. You are a seed lying dormant under the snow, waiting for the return of the sun. Your teepee is more than just a tent. It is a home, a temple, and a perfect piece of functional design, a structure that has been refined over generations to provide a comfortable and efficient living space for a nomadic people. In the long, confining months of winter, the life inside this conical sanctuary is a world unto itself. The teepee is a surprisingly spacious and well-organized home. It is built around a framework of 12 to 20 long, slender lodgepole pine poles. The cover is made of 10 to 20 buffalo hides, expertly stitched together with sinew and made waterproof with a coating of grease. At the top of the teepee are 2 smoke flaps, long, wing-like extensions of the cover with their own poles, which can be adjusted to control the draft of the fire, depending on the direction of the wind. This ingenious ventilation system is what allows you to have an open fire in the center of your home without suffocating from the smoke. You enter the teepee through a low, oval-shaped doorway, which always faces east, towards the rising sun. You immediately feel the warmth from the central fire. The fire is small, efficient, and never allowed to go out. It is the heart of the home, the source of all warmth, light, and cooked food. The wood for the fire is piled neatly by the door. The floor of the teepee is covered with soft furs and buffalo robes. The beds, also made of thick robes, are arranged around the perimeter of the lodge. The space behind the beds is used for storing your family's belongings in beautifully decorated rawhide containers. There is a strict etiquette to the life inside the teepee. The space is small, and you are sharing it with your entire family. You learn to move with a quiet, mindful grace. You learn to speak in low voices. The area behind the fire, opposite the door, is the place of honor, reserved for the head of the family or for an honored guest. An inner lining of hides, often painted with beautiful symbolic designs, hangs from the poles, creating an insulated airspace that makes the teepee surprisingly warm even in the coldest weather. This lining also creates a clean, bright interior and directs the draft of the fire upwards, towards the smoke flaps. Life in the teepee is a life of profound intimacy. You are in constant, close contact with your family. You work together, you eat together, you sleep together. You know the rhythms of each other's bodies, the sound of each other's breathing. This intimacy creates a powerful and unbreakable family bond. But it can also be a source of friction. In the long, dark, and confining months of winter, tempers can fray. The lack of privacy can be a strain. The crying of a baby, the snoring of a grandparent, the small, annoying habits of a sibling, these can become magnified in the small, enclosed space. You learn the arts of patience, of tolerance, of forgiveness. You have to. There is nowhere else to go. The teepee is a woman's domain. She is the one who owns it, who erects it, who maintains it. It is her responsibility to keep the home clean, warm, and orderly. The men are, in a sense, guests in her home. The evenings are the best part of the day. The family gathers around the fire. The flap of the teepee is closed against the cold night air. The firelight flickers on the painted lining of the teepee, making the symbolic designs of animals and stars seem to come alive. This is the time for storytelling. An elder will tell the old stories, his voice, a low, mesmerizing rhythm against the sound of the wind outside. The stories are a form of entertainment, but they are also a form of education, of spiritual nourishment. They are the glue that holds your family, your culture, together. You lie in your warm buffalo robe bed, the firelight dancing on the ceiling of your home. You are surrounded by the people you love. You are warm. You are safe. You are fed. The world outside is a frozen, howling wilderness, a place of death. But inside your tipi, you are at the very center of the universe, in a small, smoky, and sacred circle of life. One day, the world changes. The sky, which has been a clear, cold, and brilliant blue, turns a uniform, milky gray. The wind, which has been a constant but manageable presence, dies down into an eerie, unnatural stillness. The air becomes heavy. The old-timers in the camp nod to each other. They know this sign. The great enemy is coming, the blizzard. It begins not with a great fury, but with a quiet, insidious softness. A few small, dry snowflakes begin to drift down from the gray sky. Then a few more. Within an hour, the air is thick, with a steady, silent fall of snow. And then the wind arrives. It does not rise gradually. It hits the camp like a solid wall. A sudden, violent explosion of frigid air from the north. The blizzard has begun. You are trapped in your tipi. To venture outside is to commit suicide. The wind is so strong it can knock you off your feet. The snow is so thick that visibility is reduced to zero. The temperature plummets to a level that is difficult for a modern mind to comprehend. 30, 40, even 50 degrees below zero. Exposed flesh will freeze solid in a matter of minutes. The world outside your tipi is no longer a landscape. It is a howling, swirling, and utterly featureless vortex of white. It is what your people call the White Death. The sound of the blizzard is a constant, deafening, and terrifying roar. It is the sound of 1,000 screaming demons. The wind shrieks and moans, tearing at the hide cover of your tipi. The long wooden poles of your home groan and creak under the immense pressure. You pray that the stakes that anchor your home to the frozen earth will hold. If the tipi is torn apart by the wind, you and your family will not survive the night. The cold is a physical, malevolent presence. It seeps through the hide cover, through the inner lining, through your fur robes. It is a cold that feels like it is draining the very life force from your body. Your entire existence is now focused on one single, critical task: keeping the fire alive. The fire is your only defense against the cold. The pile of firewood that seemed so large just a few days ago is now shrinking at an alarming rate. You add wood to the fire sparingly, piece by piece, trying to make it last. If the fire goes out, you will die. You are a prisoner in your own home. You cannot go outside. You cannot see. All you can do is listen to the fury of the storm and wait. The days and nights merge into one long, terrifying ordeal. You lose track of time. Has it been 1 day or 3? You eat your meager rations of pemmican and dried meat. You huddle together with your family under a great pile of buffalo robes, sharing your body heat. The greatest anxiety is for your horses. They are your wealth, your transportation, your partners. They are huddled together in the most sheltered part of the river valley, their backs to the wind, their coats thick with snow and ice, but they are vulnerable. They can freeze to death. They can be buried in the massive snowdrifts. There is nothing you can do to help them. You tell stories to the children to keep them from being afraid. But you are afraid. You are afraid of the wind, of the cold, of the fire going out. You are afraid of the profound, absolute power of the natural world, a power that makes you feel small, fragile, and utterly insignificant. And then, after 3 long days and nights, a change. The relentless howling of the wind begins to lessen. The roar subsides to a moan, then to a whisper, and then to silence. The blizzard is over. The silence is as profound and as shocking as the noise was. You push open the flap of your teepee. The world is transformed. It is a new planet, a world of brilliant, dazzling white. The snow is piled in great, sculptural drifts, some of them higher than your tipi. The sun is out, and it reflects off the snow with a light so bright it is painful to look at. You have survived. You and the other men of the village begin the long, hard work of digging out. You dig tunnels through the snow, connecting the tipis. You dig out your horses, who are weak and shivering, but alive. The blizzard has taken its toll. A few of the older, weaker horses have frozen to death. The firewood supply is dangerously low. But you have survived. The White Death has passed over you. You stand in the clean, cold, silent, and brilliantly sunlit world, and you feel a sense of profound relief, of a deep and weary gratitude for the simple, miraculous fact of your own existence. The winter is not over yet, but you have survived its greatest test. The blizzard is a dramatic and terrifying event, but the greater danger of the winter is a quieter, slower, and more insidious one. It is the danger of hunger. It is now late winter, the time of the hunger moon. The stores of dried meat and pemmican that you prepared with such care in the autumn are beginning to run low. The pile of jerky is smaller. The rawhide bags of pemmican feel lighter. The daily meal, which was once a source of security, now becomes a source of anxiety. The portions get smaller. The stew is thinner. You eat slowly, chewing every bite, trying to make the feeling of fullness last as long as possible. You feel the hunger in your own body. It is a dull, constant, and gnawing ache in the pit of your stomach. You feel a new kind of weakness, a lethargy that has nothing to do with the cold. Your body is consuming itself to stay alive. You see the effects of the hunger on your family, on your people. The children are quieter, their usual boisterous energy replaced by a listless apathy. The elders are frail, their faces thin and gaunt. This is the hardest time of the year. It is a test of your discipline, of your spirit. The physical hardship is immense, but the psychological hardship is, in some ways, even greater. It is a daily struggle against despair. You spend your days engaged in a desperate search for any source of food. The men will go out on snowshoes, hunting for the small game that might still be active, or rabbits, porcupines. A single rabbit is a feast, its meat shared among several families. The women will dig under the snow, searching for the edible roots and tubers that they know are hidden there. They will gather the inner bark of certain trees, which can be boiled to create a thick, if not particularly nutritious soup. You live on the edge of starvation, and you know that you are not alone. Every living thing on the prairie is engaged in the same desperate struggle for survival. But even in this time of great hardship, your culture, your community, holds you together. The food is shared. The strongest hunters will provide for the families of those who are too old or too weak to hunt for themselves. The children and the elders are always fed first. No one is left to starve alone. The survival of the clan is a collective responsibility. And there is hope. The days are getting longer. The sun is climbing higher in the sky. The first signs of the great thaw are beginning to appear. The long, dark reign of winter is coming to an end. The entire camp is now focused on one single, all-consuming thought: the return of the buffalo. The trail boss, the council of elders, they watch the sky, they watch the land, they look for the signs. They know that the great herds are beginning their long migration north. And then, one day, the word is given. The time is right. A small group of the youngest, strongest, and bravest hunters are chosen. They are given the best horses, the last of the pemmican. They are the scouts. Their mission is to ride south, to find the buffalo. Their departure is a solemn and hopeful occasion. The entire village gathers to see them off. A holy man offers a prayer for their safety, for their success. They ride out, small, lonely figures against the vast white landscape, and the entire camp waits. The waiting is a new kind of torture. Every day, you scan the southern horizon, looking for their return. Every day that passes without a sign of them, the knot of anxiety in your stomach tightens. And then, one afternoon, you see them, 2 dark specks on the horizon. They are returning. As they get closer, you see the signal. One of the riders is circling his horse. The buffalo are coming. A great, joyous, and weak shout goes up from the camp. People are crying. They are laughing. They are embracing. The long, hard, and hungry winter is over. The hunger is over. Life is returning. You have endured. You have survived. You have been tested by the darkness, by the cold, by the hunger. and you have emerged once again into the light. The great, sacred, and life-giving cycle is about to begin anew. And so, the wheel of the year turns once more on the Great Plains. The spring hunt will happen, the summer camp will be established, the autumn will be a time of gathering, and the winter will be a time of endurance. The life we have shared for this short time is a circle, a rhythm, a dance with the seasons and with the sacred buffalo. It is a way of being that is as beautiful, as resilient, and as perfectly adapted to its environment as the prairie grass itself. This was not a savage life. It was a life of profound complexity, of deep spirituality, of intricate social organization, and of incredible artistic and technological ingenuity. It was a life of freedom, yes, but not the simple, individualistic freedom of the American myth. It was a communal freedom, a freedom that was rooted in a deep sense of responsibility to one's family, one's clan, and one's world. We, in our modern age, look back on this life with a mixture of romanticism and pity. We romanticize the freedom, the connection to nature. We pity the hardship, the lack of modern comfort and medicine. But we often fail to understand it on its own terms. We live in a linear world, a world of constant progress, of moving forward. Theirs was a cyclical world, a world of renewal, of returning to the sacred patterns. We see the earth as a resource to be exploited. They saw it as a relative to be respected. We see survival as an individual struggle. They saw it as a communal dance. The great nomadic buffalo hunting culture of the Plains Indians was a fleeting and magnificent chapter in human history. It flourished for a few short centuries, a brilliant, vibrant, and ultimately fragile civilization made of grass, hide, and spirit. And it was brought to a sudden, tragic, and violent end. The buffalo were slaughtered. The land was fenced. The people were confined to reservations. The great circle was broken. Tonight, as you lie in your quiet, comfortable room, a room with solid walls, a steady temperature, and a pantry full of food, think of the people who lived in a house made of wind and leather. Think of the young hunter, his heart pounding as he rode into the thundering chaos of the herd. Think of the woman, her hands skilled and stained, as she transformed a dead beast into the stuff of life. Think of the elder, his voice a low rhythm in the firelit teepee, as he passed the stories of his people on to the next generation. Their world is gone. We can never truly know what it felt like to live in it, but the ghost of that world still haunts the American landscape and the American imagination. It is a ghost that whispers of a different way of being, of a different kind of freedom. It is a ghost that reminds us of the profound and beautiful wisdom that we have lost, and of the immense, tragic cost of the world that we have built in its place.